minute. And the reason why I'm coming on is because I missed you guys. I truly did. I haven't been on. I haven't been talking. It's been a little hectic. If you guys haven't looked around at life, it's not just my life. It's everybody's life. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So 2025 is popping off in ecstatic effect. It's over the point of things breaking down. It feels like there's so many topics to pick from these days that it's not even something we have to attempt at. So I'm going to talk about some things that are going on. How this all started was because yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, an old coworker. I haven't worked with her in like 5 years. And the topics her and I were talking about were somewhat semi-ridiculous. And we just started listing them out. And we were like, okay, let's talk about North Carolina and how they had their flood insurance taken right before the floods hit. Then we were talking about Maui and the fires there and how all the blue roofs saved them because they believed that lasers were what took them out and started those fires. Then we were talking about how LA burned down and how that fire insurance was taken off from the insurances. So ultimately, all our topic was about the preliminary effects of like these smart cities. And if you're not familiar with what smart cities are, they are cities that are going to be technologically advanced in their design. The reason why they're trying to do it is so that they can interject AI to kind of, be a better and bigger big brother, let's say, that watches us. And people are starting to catch on to this. So as I was talking to my friend, it was just so ridiculous, all the listings of all the things we were saying. And right now, even China is doing the same. They're putting blue tarps all over their roofs because they're made aware that something might be going down as well. They feel like they're going to be the next ones to be set fire because maybe China's moving in that direction. And we don't really truly know about China because obviously they're in a socialist society and they're kind of really stopped from exercising their rights, etc., especially when it comes to expelling what's going down over there. You can never really find anything that's going on in China, really. It's really hard to get those videos released. And at the same time, that's why the white paper movement had them, because they get prosecuted very easily if they go against the government. So I just wanted to bring that part of it up because things are just popping off and getting crazy. Even here in Canada, I don't know if you guys heard, we just lost our prime minister. Yeah, right? But it makes... what my friend and I were saying was like, how crazy, what is it that Trump told this guy that actually got him to step down? Because almost every other ridiculous thing happened to Trudeau and he didn't step down. So Trump must have given him, scared him all to shit to make him move, to make him go. There's got to be something impending coming. And I know our premier here was talking about how Trump's going to be putting tariffs so high that our premier, which is like our governor, let's say, is offering to hike up energy costs. And it was just nuts because obviously we have Niagara Falls and Niagara Falls controls a lot of the grid, right? So I was like, holy shit, these guys are getting into energy wars, already. And by like the 20th, which is like 8 days away, we might see like some type of like battle going on with energy. So I started thinking to myself, I was like, oh, great. Who controls our energy grids here? And it's China. So like there's all these things popping off in our world that it was just getting a little cray with my friend when we were talking about all these topics that we were just running down. And I said to her simply, I go, 6 years ago when we started working together, would you ever think we were talking about any of these topics today? She was like, nah, this shit's nuts. But so for those of you that are Canadian, please pay attention to what's going on with our premier and with Trump, because we don't know if in like 8 days, if we may have an energy grid crisis going on here, because I feel like everybody's taking out their wands and they're trying to show off who's got a bigger wand. So we may have to worry about that because we're obviously seeing that there's a lot of persons, a lot of cities. I mean, what North Carolina is going through right now, you see videos of these guys like literally in like miles long waiting lineups for energy. So it's going ding, 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 ding energy. You know what I mean? But what I found really funny was like right before I came to do this live, I was like, what am I going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about? I'm going to talk about how all of these illusions can't be sold anymore. We're finally waking up. There's things that we just can't talk about. We can't talk about the smart cities, yet they're all happening. And then on top of it, what made me start this live was I saw this ridiculous thing on Netflix. Like I was just like scrolling through, and it was this show called Selling Sunset. And I was like, what is this ridiculous show? And it was just all these women. They were like, oh my God, Kimberly, I'm going to like sell this $53 million home and you're going to drive my Ferrari home tonight. And I just thought to myself, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this ridiculous show is going to go out of business because there is no Sunset Boulevard left. So I was just like, this is what I'm trying to say to people all the time. This whole money illusion, this whole idea of like richness and status and all of that can wipe away just in the blink of an eye. So if we are, as the human beings out here, can kind of shift our focus onto more important things like God, our righteousness, our souls, what we need to do in this time, how we need to start to band together as human beings. Because the thing is, what we don't understand is that, like I just said with that show, it just disappeared. All these fabulous women that were spending all their money and time trying to look with their fancy, clothing, their cars, all that, there's not going to be any of that anymore. Most of Hollywood is burned down. So it's like we have to realize that we need to band together as people. And the thing is, like I was saying about this energy situation, what's going on with North Carolina, the only reason we know about this stuff is because the internet exists, right? And it's such an important tool. But I'm saying to you, like as a Canadian, when I saw this stuff going off with our like congressman saying that he's going to go toe to toe with Trump, saying that he's going to mess about with the energy grids, I was like, holy shit, what if they do stop this energy grid stuff here? And I was like, what if something takes place like that and then we don't have the internet to communicate? It's a messed up place of where we're living. So that's what I'm saying. Right now, we have to try to alarm each other as much as we can about all the stuff that's going down. I have so many of my friends in America, in different parts of America. I have friends of mine that were in LA too. And it's like, we have to realize that the actual illusion that we're all being sold about, like, go to school, go get a job, go get this, not to mention right now, Starbucks has got AI watching people work. We're becoming a state where, like, not for nothing, it's like Squid Games. It's becoming more and more like Squid Games. And at the same time, like, I was just even seeing some videos recently in the last like days that Kathmandu, Ghana is also under fire. All of these places just all of a sudden around the world are just setting on fire. Not to say that it wasn't happening in South America this summer. Like all of a sudden we have different parts of Bolivia, Uruguay, what was it? Also Colombia, etc., that also burnt out of nowhere. They believed it was also lasers too. So I'm not saying everything's done by lasers. Sometimes, and there was even videos in LA saying that people were starting the fires. So it's like we don't understand what's truly going on behind the scenes. But what I can say is that we need to realize that there is a lot of puppeteers puppeteering a lot of things. Like, for example, with us, with our situation with the power grids, all being run, all our reactors are run by China. We have to realize, like, these major players can pull cords and pull strings at any time. And there's a lot of us in trouble. And then on a lighter note, for all of you out there that are struggling with couples and, relationships, because that seems to be a big topic right now. You can buy yourself a $150,000 AI-driven doll that can bring you endless joy and love. So it's like, no matter what, there's always going to be these asinine asswipes that are just making light of everything that goes on in this planet. Because really and truly, don't we need a fembot or a manny in our lives? You know, just to help degrade the circumstances that are going on right now. But really and truly, I just wanted to come kick it with you guys, talk about a couple topics, because me and my friend were just like, what the fuck just happened in the last 6 years? And it's going to just get worse. 2025, like I said, and I've said in a lot of videos, is going to be the year of exposition. There's going to be a lot of exposition going on. And a lot of us, even on top of it, we've got Canadian satellites dropping out of the sky in Boston. That just happened. So I'm saying, like, stuff is not manageable. Stuff is not making any sense. And even those that try to control us don't have a handle on it. So if you're somebody that's worried about buying a home, going to school, paying for education, all these things, just give it a couple or 5 more years and you probably won't have to worry about any of that. So it just makes our lives just seem a lot more complicated. And that's what I think this whole ascension period of time is trying to show us. What is important? What's important is you and I. What's important is family. What's important is friends. Because realistically, there's no escaping this. Yeah, sorry, I just saw this song and I was like, that fits perfectly with what I'm trying to say. So I'm not going to do much more. I just wanted to come have a quick chat with all of you guys. I don't see anybody on the live, and it's totally cool. Because as someone who's had to give up most of what she believed in, you know, all the illusions I believed in, the more and more I got into my spiritual journey, I realized how ridiculous I was. You know what I mean? And all the Prada purses in the world, all the Ferraris, all the Lambos in the world ain't going to do shit when those puppeteers decide to pull those cords. So please, I implore you guys, get closer to God, get closer to Yeshua, get closer to your family, get closer to what matters. I have just been buying as much goods as I can. I've been saving on water. I've also been buying books on survival. It's getting cray out there. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I have to be an understander that none of these things are in our control as the individual human being. Like me ranting right now, I do my rant, right? Maybe someone else hears it. Maybe they go and buy a book or two or start to, you know, stock up on foods, etc. And then there's people out there that are like, oh, let's worry about the financial crisis, this, that, the other thing. Some people think we're going to be rich. Some people think we're going to be poor. The point of the matter is that it doesn't matter if we're rich or poor. All of that can go away in an instant. So let's just focus on what we can do. Let's focus on what's important and let's get to business. So since I have one person on this live, hello, I haven't done my energy cards in like a million years. So let's see what the energy is for this week. Because like, honestly, I feel like so invigorated this year. I'm excited because a lot of us are self-actualizing. A lot of us are coming out of our shells this year. Like the more and more I get into my business, and for all you guys that don't know what I do, I'm a higher self channeler. Now, what that is, so to speak, is that I can tap into someone's higher self. So I can get an internal understanding of their Akashic records, and I can help people along with their spiritual challenges, let's say, that they're going through. There's no cards involved. There's no divination of any kind. I actually do this for fun because technically, if I have your name, I can help you out in that way. But I noticed that as I'm going through my own journey, my own gifts are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I notice that with every session I do, because most of my sessions, I kind of characterize to myself how much on point I am, how many things I don't connect with, and how many things I do. And as my time goes on, I'm noticing that I'm almost like at a 98% accuracy rate. So I can honestly say, as someone who's in the realm of spirituality, who works in the spiritual realm most of the time, most of my prophetic ideas or thoughts or what I believe is coming true is coming to pass. I am going to be doing videos more along the lines. My next one's going to be about the twin flames, because that's going to be a major thing that's coming up soon. And so I'm not going to talk too much about it now, but I feel like that's another major thing, because these projects and these groupings are going to be major in 2025, because there's not much time left. We've got maybe like 5 more years before 2030 comes. Because if you guys are not aware, there is an agenda that everyone may or may not know about New World Order. And I would say it's just a glorified UN organization. But at the same time, with all these smart cities coming into play in the next years, we have to take hold of like what our world means to us. So realistically, that's why I'm bringing this up, because we don't have much time before their agenda. And you don't believe me, but all these smart cities and all this NWO stuff is actually listed online in print. Not as a conspiracy, like they're outlines. If you even go on like the World Congress and things of that nature, you can actually see what their plans are for this global, government. It's not actually a theory, it's actually reality. So the thing is that a lot of us are not realizing that there's a lot of things underway. Like, why is it that, the United States wants to capture Canada? Well, because maybe at the same time, Canada might be one of the few places that after certain things take place, even in a climactic sense, we might be one of the regions, or most of the northern regions, meaning Greenland as well, will be a place of refuge as these climatic things take place. So there's always a rhyme and a reason. It's not just because people are hearing it in the media that these things exist. No, there is bigger agendas at play. And, you know, even here in Canada, we're moving into smart cities. I just found out in this last year that we had 3 that were created. And funny enough, 2 of them were in a region that just burnt down in 2023. And the thing is that here in Canada, we haven't had fires on our East Coast. That was unknown in my whole entire life. But in 2023, we did. And we've always had them on the West Coast where BC is, and there's smart cities there already. And what I'm seeing is the East Coast is now building these smart cities where we had all our forest fires for the first time in my existence in 2023. So as we are global citizens as well, we need to open our eyes and realize that the agendas are getting, you know, the time crunch is getting smaller and smaller. So if you're somebody out there without a channel, I suggest you get a channel, because all of us connecting, all of us talking our biz every chance we get helps us understand. Because if it wasn't for people telling me about North Carolina, I wouldn't know about it. I wouldn't know about the energy crisis there. If people weren't telling me about, you know, the the satellites dropping down in Boston onto cars and such, I wouldn't know about it. So I'm saying what we need to do as human citizens is, while this grid is still going, while the energy grid is still popping off, we need to express to each other, our brothers and sisters, what's going on, because this is the only power we have right now. If it was up to the media, none of us would know what the hell is going on the real. Like on the real, this internet is all we have. So it's very powerful and it's very, very precious. So if you're somebody who doesn't have a channel, or somebody who has a point of view and you need something to do this 2025, this revealing year is the time to do it, because this is our power. This is our platform, not just YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of you are scared, but I'm saying this is not the time, because our foundation of what we were sold our entire lives is crumbling all around us. And a lot of us are panicking. A lot of us don't know what to do. But what did they tell you when a fire goes off? What did they tell you when something major goes off? Take a breath, look at your surroundings, and figure out what to do before you panic. Because if you go into a panic, nothing gets achieved. Okay? So if you're somebody who's having a really heavy time right now in 2025, I say breathe, take a moment, and get your channel up and running, because your voice is just as important as my voice, as anyone else's voice. And you never know what bits of knowledge you have to provide for the rest of your country, your global citizen world, because we are all telling each other messages as we go. So I'm just going to do these energy cards just for the week, just because I want to have some fun. I have not kicked it with you guys in a long time. If you guys have any questions about anything to do with astral, dreams, higher selves, aliens, I know a lot about a lot. Like right now we've got alien craft that's dropping down in Arizona. I took 2 looks at that and I was like, that is the saddest looking UFO I've ever seen. I don't even think it was alien craft because of how poorly made it was. All the alien crafts I've ever seen in my astral travel has never looked that poorly made. So what I personally think is going on with this whole alien stuff is, like, a lot of it is just to alarm us. Some of it is holographic. Some of it is not even real. And then at the same time, it's like some of the stuff is just trying to scare us so that we get more alarmed and more discharged in our own right. So what I would say is that we do have to prepare for alien contact, because this is a real thing, but we also have to not be bamboozled by every single thing we see, because some of these orbs and some of these things that we're seeing are just projections. Okay, and some of them are craft. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying it's like some of it is just to make us worried, right? Because you have to understand, for all these years and all these hundreds of years, why haven't the aliens shown themselves? There's a reason, because there's some type of law that they have to follow where they don't interfere with us so severely. So the fact that all of a sudden all these orbs and all these things are coming out of nowhere, we have to take a discerning eye and say, why wouldn't they do this slowly? Why would they just like come out of nowhere and make like thousands of appearances? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Charles. Like, I saw that thing in Arizona. I was like, this is embarrassing. I'm like, that craft, it all had rivets, and it was like, it looked like what, like, let's say reverse engineered human work would look like. Like there was some stuff that I was seeing in Costa Rica, right? Some craft that was in Costa Rica. Now that was impressive. I was like, that looks like real craft. Like when I would astral project and go to different places with my higher selves, I'm like, that looks like real craft. The stuff, I even posted it on my page. That's why I posted it, because I'm like, that looks like real craft. Some of these things I've been seeing, they look so pitifully put together that I was like, come on. I'm like, what is this? A 4th-dimensional, 5-dimensional craft? I'm like, this is sad, because it's like, it looked man-made. Because of how, like, some of the craft that I've seen in my time, you know, astral, like, it's biological even in a sense. Like, it's not even metallic. So it's like, for them to make it look so poorly made, I was like, this isn't cool. But I also feel like they're trying to alarm people because they don't know how to broach the subject, and they did it in such a human fashion. Like I'm saying, they made it like so exposed, so over the top. And I was like, why would aliens all of a sudden be so over the top when they have not been over the top this entire time? So some of us have to really like put, you know, 50-50, you know, we have to say like, some of this could be aliens, and then some of this could be human made to scare us. And we have to be aware of that. Because like at this time we have to be, especially with AI going on, especially with holographic projections. I mean, guys, holographic projections, you trick the eye, a lot of people believe it. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are they doing this? I think it's to scare people. It's another scare tactic. They're just trying to alarm people to make it seem like, oh, aliens are coming after, and make us fearful. But it'll work on a lot of people. So I feel like that's what's truly happening. Because why would the aliens take that measure and not try to speak to us directly? Like, why would they play pokey-dokey games all of a sudden to terrorize us? No offense, if anybody spent any time astral projecting or getting to know, astral beings, they are so powerful. They are so intelligent in terms of consciousness. They could override us at any time. Okay, they could have. Okay, so the fact that they're playing these pokey-doke games doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. But I honestly have so many things to say about aliens, but I'm not going to waste all your time about that, because I truly feel like this time, like I was saying, there's so much to pay attention to when it comes to the smart cities and to the energy grids, because I am terrified myself about what's going to happen around January 19th and 20th to America and to Canada, because all of these threats that are going on between our governor and your president are even more terrifying. And I truly feel like North Carolina is showing us what could happen easily, because it's like, they knew that the floods were going to come. They took it from the insurance, but then at the same time, now they're suffocating these people when it comes to energy. So these people can't even, live properly. So it's like, who's to say that they're not going to challenge us in all these different ways, especially us right now in a colder climate? This would be a more terrifying factor than the aliens. Because if we don't have heat, and if we don't have electricity, and we don't have this grid to speak to each other, that's an even scarier thought. Oh, he's totally a stepping stone leader. All I'm saying is that because our prime minister stepped down, right? We don't have anybody in power right now. And our senator, let's say, of our province, like we don't have states, right? He's actually throwing threats because Trump is saying that he's going to bring these impending tariffs, right? And the only acting person right now is the senator that we have. And he's throwing threats at Trump right now as we speak, saying that because we control the energy grid because of Niagara Falls, he's threatening Trump with these ideas. And I'm just like, don't do this, brother. Don't threaten this man with these, because the thing is too, at the same time, it's like, and then I was saying China actually owns all of our reactors. So it's like, at the same time, it's like, who is China going to side with? Let's be realistic. Most likely it's going to be Trump, because they want to, bargain for those tariff issues as well. Or they might side with our stupid governor that's threatening Trump, right? It's like, so I'm saying, for me as a Canadian, like, I'm just like shaking my head going, these illusions have all got to stop. These things have to, because it's just getting to the point where it's like, we are letting these puppeteers, or these dumbasses in my books, kind of control our lives in some grand global scheme. And who pays the price? All of us regulars, right? And it's just like, it's terrifying. So for me, I'm just putting the word out there to any North Americans that, especially in the New York region, because that's right beside Toronto, which is right beside Niagara Falls. Like something by the 19th and the 20th could be popping off, and we should be paying attention and maybe figuring out, because I told you, like once I started seeing these things, I was like, I'm just going to save up on some water. I'm just going to save up on some food. So I'm saying, I'm just letting my brothers and sisters know that are on my energy grid where I live, this is something that is impendingly real, because if this guy steps the bounds, I don't know what Trump will do. And I'm not saying Trump's an evasive person. I don't think Trump's an over-the-top person, but I'm saying if he's being pushed to shove, it could happen. And I just want to say, this is in the news. This is what they're saying blatantly, outwardly. And I think it's one of the most ridiculous things. But we're in like minus 16. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. That's probably... We don't have one yet. We don't have, there's a guy that we want, because the thing is that our prime minister stepped down, right? So that leaves the party available to choose a new candidate. So we don't have a new prime minister selected yet. Everybody wants the voting to begin early, because our voting's supposed to happen in next November. Yeah, the one munching on the apple, he's the conservative party. It's like if you guys were to think of it like the Democrats and the Republicans, right? Right now, the Republicans are running the country, but our Republican leader stepped down. So they need to pick somebody out of the Republicans to become the prime minister, right? They can't move to the conservatives, which is like, I guess you guys would say the Democrats. Everybody wants the guy, Poilievre, to come into power, but it's not going to happen yet. It's supposed, unless we as Canadians all push for like a referendum, which is like a forced voting time. It's like to push it from November, like you guys, to now. But the thing is that the party, like the Republican Party, let's say that we have, which is really called the Liberal Party, they're still in power. They haven't selected somebody. But we're saying Poilievre will be the next prime minister, but he's not in power yet, and it won't be for a while. You want to know something? He never... Okay, he goes to Kyle Largo. That's all we know, to go meet up with Trump, and he steps down. This guy, I swear to God, I know you guys don't watch our political system and how it works. This guy's been getting beaten black and blue in our version of Senate, because they all talk, right? I've been watching our version of Senate for months and months. This guy's been ridiculed, made fun of. It's been ridiculous. But literally, he goes to meet up with Trump for that trip, which was so against our regulations as a politician to do. And all of a sudden, whatever Trump told him, he was like, okay, boys and girls, I'm out of here. So it was like whatever Trump said was going to go down scared the shit out of this narcissistic asswipe so badly that he was like, I'm not going to deal with this, boys and girls. I'm out. And the thing is that you have to understand, Trudeau has been staring down the barrel of, like, he's been embarrassed. He's been like spit on. He's been ridiculed. He's had things thrown at him. He never left. Whatever the freak Trump told him, he just was like, forget it, I'm out. And I was just like, holy shit. So we don't know, because he did such a personal, private meetup with Trump, not in the White House. He did it at his personal place in Kyle Largo. We have no clue. And they're not going to tell us. All I know is that it was scary enough for that asswipe to just get to stepping, because nothing else scared that guy. And he's been fucking up shit in Canada for 8 years now, and nothing was stopping that guy from doing more havoc and more harm. So whatever Trump told him, I must have not been in his benefit, because I will say this, Trudeau is the type of person, he has sold out our country to so many corporations. It's not even funny. We've lost so many of our resources because of him. We have lineups. We have 10 cities everywhere now because of him. So what I'm saying is that he didn't care about selling us out. That's why whatever is going down is going to be big. And it's probably scaring the crap out of our version of Republicans, our Liberal Party, because no one's like stepping up right now. So whatever it is that like Trump proposed, no one's really ready to take the reins. And our finance minister, who was the only person who stood up to Trump, this woman, she stepped down right before Trudeau did, because she couldn't deal with Trudeau and his bullcrap. So it's kind of interesting. This is a very interesting time. So I don't know if it is true what they were saying about how they want to turn Canada somewhat into a state. I know that's all a bunch of pretext, but it's kind of interesting, because it's like maybe he sold Trudeau an idea that he believes will happen. So I don't know, Chow Shows. I guess if I find out more, I'll definitely come on and tell you guys, because I'm watching legislation, our House of Commons, which is like your Senate. I watch it almost every day to see what's going on. And so far, no one's talking. So it's kind of a scary place where we're like sitting ducks right now, because we don't actually have a head of state. But our, like, let's say our biggest state, which is Ontario, like New York, it's our main primary generator of money, and we're right beside Niagara Falls. That head of state is threatening Trump as we speak on the news, and it's getting worrisome, because he's saying by like the 19th, the 20th, that he's going to put in an order to have our reactors and our energy grids not participate, because we also power New York and things of that region of power grid. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, why are you threatening this? Because this is just some scary, hairy shit. So I'm just letting you guys know, because I'm like, well, maybe you live in New York. And if you live in New York, we got to keep our eyes on this, because we have families to feed and we have people to worry about. So I'm always, because I saw what's going on with North Carolina, and no one's talking about that really on the news. So no one's going to be talking about what I'm talking about on the news either. Because if we don't have any energy, just like North Carolina doesn't have any energy, shit's going to get crazy. And it's a big region. It's probably going to be some of Washington, some of New York, some of Minnesota. Like, that whole region is run by Niagara Falls. So I was just coming on to share with you guys. What's up with you, Chow Shows? I haven't seen you in a bit. What are you up to? Since it's just you and I. If it is just you and I don't know. I only see one person. But I was going to do an energy read. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this, because I was just like, holy crap. I'm like, this is just insane shit that's going down in our world. And it's like everybody's still focused on living this stupid dream that doesn't exist anymore. Like, if you're somebody that wants to buy a house, I say forget it. If somebody is telling you to go spend $40,000 on an education, forget it. If somebody's, because in the next 5 years, we are going to see such a shift in this world, let alone just this year alone. So I say, if you've got all this money saved up, buy gold. That's all I've been doing. I just buy commodities, real tangible commodities, because no one knows what these puppeteers are doing. You have a small house paid off. Good for you, bro. Because right now in Toronto, it's crazy. No one can afford a home. It's so bad. And I think like that's how it was being designed, just so that none of us will own anything and that we'll have to rent everything from the government. That's what I think the government's real plan is, at least here for Canada, because our rates are so ridiculous. Like I'm in a house right now that is worth $2 million, but it's maybe less than 2,000 square feet of a house. And most people my age cannot rent a place, and we can't afford a home if our lives depended on it. We can never come up with the money for the down payment because we need at least 25%. And what's 25% of 2 million? Who has that? Who has an extra 125,000 just lying around? You know what I mean? And so I'm glad for you, Chow Shows, that you have a small house that's paid off. How about this? If things go up shit's creek, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come find somebody with a place to live, because it's getting nuts over here. But I was really just going to come on and do an energy read and just spit it with some people, because I haven't connected on a live in a long time. And I really feel like with everything happening, you know, satellites falling out of the sky, all these craft, all these fires, all these smart city developments that are in our face online telling us they're going to get built and no one's stopping it. We have to band together as people as best as we can. So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I do you mind if I do an energy read, or should I just forget it and end the live since you're my only participant? I might as well, right? Sure, right? Oh, but I don't know, man. It's just I had to come on because my friend and I were talking about all these ridiculous things, and then, like I said, as a joke, I was like, now we're gonna have robots for like $150,000. All of us can just buy our own robots to do all our stuff for us. For $150,000, you can buy your own girlfriend. I can buy my own boyfriend. It's gonna be a wild world. And then it's like, oh, once these robots come into effect, what are they going to do about Amazon? You know what I mean? Amazon's probably going to buy all of them. And then how many people are going to be out of work once those robots get outlined? $150,000 is not a lot. Yeah, I know that thing can malfunction, but I'm just saying they're already implementing AI as measures of like watching, like Starbucks just started this, and they're watching all of the production of their workers. So I'm saying if they're using AI to monitor production, if let's say, for example, like, because I was like, oh, Elon Musk is obviously a very smart individual. He's going to get all the government contracts that go down. And I was like, well, if he starts building robots at an expedient rate, I'm like, I'm sure Bezos is going to jump all over that. Because it's like, if Bezos can get away without paying people, he has one of the largest workforces, not just here in North America, but around the world. I'm like, they're going to jump all over that shit. So it's like, we're all going to be, not today, but soon enough. Unless you have a job that cannot be taken over by one of these robots, I don't know. I don't know what the next 5 years is going to say for us, because it's going to just be so rampantly fast. Because think about it this way. Once they get AI to a level that it's strong enough to even create itself or procreate itself, like, then we're all out of jobs. So, I'm sorry. I sound like Debbie Downer today, but I was like, oh man, there's so much shit popping off on the airwaves that it's like, we truly have to band together as people. Like, that's all we have left is just to, you know, of course, more lopsided income. Like, not for nothing, the rich get richer, but it's like, it's not even just that. It's like the system is flawed. It's very illegal. Like, I don't know about it in the States, but here we pay income tax, right? Income tax is the biggest fraud, right? We pay carbon tax. We pay a thing called water, like not water tax, rain tax. Rain tax. Okay? Do you know how fucking retarded that sounds? I pay a rain tax because of acid rain and planes and carbon distribution. This is nuts. Yeah, look it up. It's real. It's a real thing. But I'm just saying, it's like they wanted taxes. And the thing is that these taxes are already taxed on taxed income. So realistically, we pay about taxes 6 ways to Sunday. So by the time we even get our little portion of a paycheck, it's like, what, 30%? And the other thing that's also ridiculous, but is such a simple thing of how we don't even realize we're being screwed over as human beings. Think about this, 52 weeks in a year, right? You divide that by 4, how many months is that? If you do the math, it's 13. We're doing 12, we're getting paid for 12 months worth of work, but we're doing 13. Simple math, simple math. Income tax, there's no law here in Canada, and I'm sure it's the same in the States because you guys follow the same as civil law. We follow civil law. We're not French, right? And we do have a French portion that follows common law. There's actually no law. There's no legislation that tells us that we have to pay income on already taxed, like, let's say, wages. Because the thing is like, we can only get taxed on what's it called? Income, like corporation income. Like, if we were a corporation and we had our own, let's say, profits, we would have to pay income tax on that. But all we're offering as human beings is services. So there's no law stating that we have to pay tax on services like that we provide. So it's kind of a messed up thing. There's actually no legal or legalities here in Canada that are forcing us to pay income tax. But yeah, you would need a huge class action of persons to pull off some type of legislation. Yeah, they've charged the infinite tax, and the thing is like, who is going to actually fight those fights for us? That's basically all it is. Oh, I think my son just woke up, guys. I'm sorry. I think I have to go. Yes, Annie. Okay, guys, I gotta go. My son just woke up. I love you guys. I was gonna do a read, but I'll catch you guys later. But yeah, just please run through the feed and you'll see what all the things I was talking about. It's messed up. But I'm going to come on probably next week. I miss kicking it with you guys. So have a great night. Bye, guys. Love you lots.